Alleged affairs, embarrassing publicity, and a husband accused of sexual assault. Melania Trump might enjoy a life of luxury, but it hasn't always been easy. Melania Trump was just 28 when she met future husband Donald Trump at a party during New York Fashion Week in 1998. 24 years her senior, Trump had a well-earned reputation as a ladies' man. He had already been married twice, divorcing wife Ivana after his affair with Marla Maples, who went on to become his second ex-wife. In fact, Trump was on a date with another woman when he asked for Melania's number. She declined, instead asking for his. Before long, they began dating. They weren't long into their relationship, however, when Melania decided to break things off. Matthew Atanian, her former roommate and photographer, told GQ, "She had some trust issues with him at the beginning. She was telling me that she wouldn't have it. He was back to his old ways. She kept her apartment to have her own space because of this. But just a few months later, they got back together." It's no secret that prior to her marriage, Melania was a top model who wasn't a prude when it came to nudity. She was regularly seen in magazines sporting lingerie and had no problem taking it all off for a steamy GQ photo shoot back in 2000. In 2016, when Donald Trump was campaigning for president, a false rumor spread that sex work was a part of Melania's modeling career. Slovenian magazine Suzy published a story that the modeling agency Melania worked for was actually a front for an elite escort agency for wealthy clients, and that she herself was a high-end escort. Britain's Daily Mail ran with the story in their profile on Melania, sharing all the salacious details while also concluding there was no truth to the rumor. That led her to sue the Daily Mail for libel, seeking $150 million in damages. The Daily Mail issued retractions and an apology to Melania. Slovenski Novice newspaper, publisher of Suzy, issued a statement on its website insisting that the story never claimed that Melania Trump was an escort. She proceeded with her lawsuit and won. The damages, however, were nowhere near the $150 million she was asking for, but were reportedly in the $3 million range. In October 2016, a month before the presidential election, The Washington Post published a video and article that showed Trump bragging about being able to freely grope women because he's famous.
When you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the you can do anything.
Days after the infamous Access Hollywood tape leaked, a woman came forward with a shocking allegation. Writing for People magazine, journalist Natasha Stoyanov wrote about her experience interviewing Trump at his Mar-a-Lago estate in 2005. After greeting Melania Trump, who was pregnant with son Barron at the time, Stoyanov claimed Donald Trump brought her into a room and pulled the door closed. She wrote, "I turned around, and within seconds he was pushing me against the wall and forcing his tongue down my throat." The attack stopped when a butler entered, informing Trump that his wife would be joining them in a moment to continue the interview. After the butler left them alone, she said that Trump told her, "You know we're going to have an affair, don't you?" While Trump claimed that what he said in the Access Hollywood tape was, quote, locker room talk, Stoyanov concluded by writing, "But it wasn't just talk in my case, it was very much action. And just for the record, Mr. Trump, I did not consent." In the spring of 2024, Donald Trump was found guilty on 34 counts involving the so-called hush money paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels to secure her silence about their alleged affair prior to the 2016 presidential election. When Daniels first went public with those allegations in 2018, the details proved particularly embarrassing for Melania Trump, given that the alleged tryst took place shortly after the birth of their son Barron. Melania tried to dismiss the whole thing when she addressed the controversy during an interview with ABC News.
It is not concern and focus of mine. I'm a mother and a first lady, and I have much more important things to think about.
When Daniels then testified during the hush money case all those years later, Melania reportedly felt mortified all over again. A source told People magazine, "She remains angry and doesn't want to hear the alleged hush money payment mentioned."
A furious Melania is not a yeller or a screamer. She just disappears.
The former president vehemently denied that he had sex with Daniels, dismissing the allegations via tweet as, quote, 100% fabricated and made-up charges. Allegations of her husband's extramarital escapades weren't Melania's only cause for embarrassment in 2018. There was also then President Donald Trump's interview with Fox and Friends when he was asked what he had given to the First Lady for her recent birthday.
"I got a beautiful card, there's some beautiful flowers."
He also offered an excuse for his thoughtlessness, claiming that his job as leader of the free world kept him far too preoccupied to be bothered.
You know, I'm very busy
At
to
this
be
point.
running out looking for presents, okay?
Stephanie Winston Wolkoff was one of Melania Trump's closest friends and confidants, until she was ousted from her role in the White House when a scandal erupted over claims she profited from extravagant spending at the inauguration. She told the New York Times in 2019, "Was I fired? No. Did I personally receive $26 million or $1.6 million? No. Was I thrown under the bus? Yes." Wolkoff didn't just get mad, she got even. Her weapon? A recording device, secretly taping conversations that formed the bulk of her book, Melania and Me, which contained numerous revelations that Melania would have liked to remain secret. As The Guardian pointed out in its review, Wolkoff is no lightweight in the New York fashion scene, having produced the Met Gala, worked for Vogue's Anna Wintour, and served as a fashion director for New York Fashion Week. The First Lady received even more negative press when Wolkoff played some of those recorded conversations on television, including one in which Melania lamented being criticized for her husband's actions and policies, while focusing on planning Christmas at the White House.
Who gives a about Christmas stuff and decoration, but I need to do it, right?
While it's abundantly clear that Melania Trump is a doting mother to Barron, her relationships with her husband's kids from his first marriage appear to be a bit more complicated. That seems to be the case when it comes to her stepdaughter, Ivanka Trump. A 2017 Vanity Fair piece, for example, pointed to a frostiness between the two, while a source told People that it was no secret that Melania isn't close to the 3 older Trump children. In Stephanie Winston Wolkoff's Melania and Me, she detailed Melania's rivalry with Ivanka. In fact, Melania was reportedly furious about Ivanka's efforts to steal the spotlight during the 2016 inauguration. Wolkoff wrote, "It was Donald's inauguration, not Ivanka's, but no one was brave enough to tell her that." Wolkoff also wrote about the First Lady's efforts to derail Ivanka's plans, which were dubbed Operation Block Ivanka, intended to keep her away from the primo photo ops during the big day. Wolkoff wrote, "Yes, Operation Block Ivanka was petty. Melania was in on this mission, but in our minds, Ivanka shouldn't have made herself the center of attention in her father's inauguration." Melania's chilly relationship with Ivanka reportedly fractured even further. In the 2024 book American Woman, The Transformation of the Modern First Lady, Melania contemptuously referred to Ivanka as the princess, and the two reportedly battled over media coverage. There have been rumors aplenty about the marriage of Donald and Melania Trump, bolstered by some chilly public interactions between the two. And let's not forget all those allegations of his infidelity. But when it comes to their marriage, what is the state of the union? In her unauthorized biography, Free Melania, CNN correspondent Kate Bennett claimed that the Trumps didn't share a bed or even a bedroom when they lived in the White House. The book alleged that the then-president slept in the primary bedroom in the White House residence, while his wife had her own bedroom on an entirely different floor, in a space that had hosted Marianne Robinson, mother of previous First Lady Michelle Obama. Apparently, those sleeping arrangements weren't exclusive to the White House, but had carried over from Trump Tower. Karen McDougal, the Playboy playmate who claimed to have had a lengthy affair with the 45th president, recalled Trump taking her on a tour of the penthouse and showing her Melania's private quarters, which were separate from his own. However, this doesn't necessarily mean that their marriage is on the rocks.
By all accounts, they do have a connection. They do have a relationship.
In his book Fire and Fury, author Michael Wolff claimed that Melania Trump's reaction to her husband winning the 2016 presidential election wasn't exactly a happy one. Wolff wrote, "Melania was in tears, and not of joy. She realized that, as First Lady, the scrutiny placed on her marriage would escalate considerably. As a source told Us Weekly in 2018, she was not thrilled that, quote, all eyes are on her relationship with her husband. It's not an easy time for her." Meanwhile, another source claimed that life in the White House was sheer misery for her. The source told the outlet, "She is very, very unhappy with her life. If she could, she would get away from Donald and just be with her son." After Donald Trump lost the 2020 presidential election, they left the White House and retreated to Mar-a-Lago. Even though she would revert to being a private citizen once again, it was clear that the life she knew in New York City was long gone, replaced by her new reality in Florida. But would Trump's esteemed Florida estate become her refuge or her prison? Apparently, it's the former. A source told People, "Melania is leading her own life and still feels happy being at Mar-a-Lago, surrounded by people who love her and who never talk about reality or bad things about her husband." By all accounts, Melania Trump has always been close to her parents, Victor and Amalia Novs. As Politico reported, prior to making the move to the White House, they lived with her and their grandson in the penthouse at Trump Tower and would often spend weekends with her at Mar-a-Lago or Donald Trump's golf resort in Bedminster, New Jersey. In January 2024, Melania shared the tragic news via social media, writing, "It is with deep sadness that I announce the passing of my beloved mother, Amalia. Amalia Novs was a strong woman who always carried herself with grace, warmth, and dignity. She was entirely devoted to her husband, daughters, grandson, and son-in-law. We will miss her beyond measure and continue to honor and love her legacy." In the years since leaving the White House and settling down in Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump immediately began his quest to win another term as president, hitting the road for rallies and giving countless media interviews.
He's the worst president in the history of our country, and she's the worst vice president.
Melania has rarely appeared with him at these events, preferring to remain behind the scenes to focus on raising their teenage son. That focus on parenting is reportedly all-encompassing. A source told People magazine that Melania has little interest in cultivating friends, preferring to spend her time with family. The source stated, "Melania's friends are her family members. Many Mar-a-Lago club members and others know and see Melania, but they aren't friends. They don't get together and gab or socialize. She has always surrounded herself with family. She is a doting mother to Barron and very protective of him. This is nothing new." That certainly sounds like a lonely life. Yet it's also been a way for Melania to insulate herself and Barron from her husband's myriad of legal troubles and multiple criminal indictments. The source went on, "They live in a fairy tale world and just deal with things as they come and seem to survive pretty well. They do what is possible to get past the problems without disrupting their lifestyle."